Good morning, everyone. Here's your weather and hazard briefing for Wednesday, May 5th. We do have a brief break in the weather today and tomorrow as high pressure quickly slides across the area. By the time we get to Thursday night, our first round of showers and thunderstorms into the central mountains. And then as we gradually move through the rest of this week into the weekend, it looks like showers and thunderstorms will continue. We're still looking at just seeing how much of this pattern sets up right over Idaho. The more the low sets up over our area, the colder it will be and the potential for more snow in the mountains. There are some indications it could end up setting east of the divide and we don't get quite as much precipitation and it's not quite as cold as well. High pressure building over the region today, but we do have quite a bit of higher level moisture off the coast. This low is the one that is headed our direction as we head into the weekend. But between now and then, we did have a few showers early this morning. Those are continuing to dissipate and move off into Wyoming. Other than that, it looks like some dry and warm weather, if that's the kind of weather you like, coming our way. Now, it is pretty chilly across portions of the Snake Plain and Magic Valley, and some places are down in the low to mid-30s. Not much in the way of frost and freeze developing right now. It's just a little bit too breezy to see some bigger impacts from that. Some isolated and sheltered spots probably will have a little frost this morning. So we go into tomorrow, we'll see some breeze kicking up across the area. There's the showers and isolated thunderstorms moving into the central mountains later on the evening, and it just becomes more breezy and showery with thunderstorms across the area at times all the way through the weekend. We've highlighted some of the higher elevations with at least minor impacts heading into the weekend. That's at least trying to indicate the potential of some colder temperatures and that snow eventually trying to fall in the higher elevations here of central and eastern Idaho. As we go through the forecast, we're going to skip all the way tomorrow, not looking at anything for today. This is the forecast starting tomorrow afternoon. You'll notice showers and a few thunderstorms rolling through the central mountains. A couple might make it out into the Arco Desert, but most of it in the central mountains back towards Boise on up into the Panhandle. And this first round is pretty much out of here by Friday morning, but then the next round moves in and develops farther east on Friday. And as we go through the weekend, just showers and thunderstorms continuing across our area. So taking a little closer look at things, looking at for our highs today. Temperatures approaching the low to mid-70s across the Magic Valley down into the South Hills and the lower elevations. Oakley is be 72. Chalice around 70 degrees. Elsewhere, it'll be in the 50s and 60s for our afternoon highs. Not much wind today across our area. Now, tomorrow morning, it will be a little bit warmer in some places. We're pushing in the mid to upper 40s across the South Hills into the Magic Valley, the Treasure Valley. Our typical colder spots will be below freezing still. Stanley at 28, Island Park 31, right at freezing around the Bear Lake area. And we do have some southerly winds developing along the interstate corridor, and that's why some of these areas will be much, much warmer than other similar locations for tomorrow. Look at how warm it's going to be. We're pushing 85, 86 in places like Minidoka, Burley, Shoshone. We'll be in the lower 80s for a good chunk of the Snake Plain out in the Arco Desert. Chalice 81. 70s in the mountains, and if you're heading up into really high elevations, the highest elevations will still be in the 50s and 60s for tomorrow. But that's when things start to change. We continue with clouds rolling in Friday. It's going to continue to be warming up in the morning hours, but it's going to be cooler in the afternoon. We're only going to see 60s and 70s in the valleys, 40s and 50s up in the mountains. And those winds, speaking of those winds, you can see those gusts in the afternoon pushing 30 to 40 miles an hour in some locations across the Treasure Valley, Magic Valley, all the way up towards the Island Park area. And to Friday night, the winds will die down a little bit, but especially once you get from the INL, Pocatello back to the west, those gusty winds will continue into Friday night and early Saturday morning. And speaking of Saturday morning, we start to scale those temperatures back. We'll be in the teens and 20s in the mountains. Much of the lower elevations will sitting at or above freezing, in some spots pushing 40 degrees. But you notice how chilly it's going to be on Saturday with the clouds and showers around. Only in the 50s in the lower elevations, 30s and 40s up in the mountains. And again, still being a bit windy on Saturday, especially across the Magic Valley into the Treasure Valley, and those winds to continue into the evening and overnight hours Saturday night into Sunday morning. And Sunday morning, it's still cooling off just a bit across the board, and temperatures, we might see a little more sun across the Magic Valley, but still temperatures staying in the 50s to near 60 in the lower elevations. 40s and 50s up in the high country. And speaking of precipitation, this is a real early look. This is going to change because, like I said, we're still not sure where that low sets up. If this low ends up setting over the top of us, we'll probably see more precipitation developing, especially Saturday and beyond. If the low continues to maybe trend set off far to the west, some of these higher amounts over the central mountains will go away, and we'll start to pick up precipitation and higher precipitation amounts over into the southeast highlands and the eastern highlands as well. But the potential is there for over a quarter of an inch in some of our higher elevations. Not much falling in the lower elevations, trace amounts under a tenth of an inch in a lot of these areas. And it's going to be showery, so it's not going to be widespread precipitation. It's going to be, hit and miss with the precipitation, especially we get into Friday and Saturday. And snow amounts, we're not looking at too much in the central mountains on Friday, but there might be an inch or so once you get in the mid and upper elevations. And that trend continues into Saturday. Like I said, this is going to change, and we'll be adding more precipitation into the forecast as we go over the next couple of days. So once again, a break in the weather today and tomorrow, but our first round of showers and storms returns Thursday night. It looks pretty active in terms of precipitation, and the potential is there. If you're going to be heading out over the weekend, you might want to take some gear that's geared towards colder conditions, and because we could see some snow up in the mountains. Everyone, you have a great Wednesday and stay safe out there, folks.